Well, hello and welcome to Tarot for Our Times and what times they are. This is Sarah, your medium on the go. And of course, I'm going to talk about the latest ride on the roller coaster that we know as the stock market. That went, as you know, it went up today because he's paused tariffs for just about everybody back to 10% and is spinning some fairy tale about deals or something like that. Except China, our biggest trader, China, is going to be 130% or something like that tariffs. And that's when you go to Walmart, that's when you go to Target, that's for these things here, electronics, so much. So okay, so that's what he's doing. And so basically what I did, because this whole thing is just enough to make your head spin, I watched Marianne of Revealing Light Tarot to get not to copy or argue with her readings, but because she was an investigative reporter, I kind of wanted to get her take on this whole thing. And I think it was very powerful what she said at the end after her readings is that people in Australia are being affected by all of the games that he's been playing. That it's affecting her retirement funds. So this just isn't a United States problem. It's a world problem. But when you break it down to listening to someone from another country, especially one that's so far away like Australia, you see what that how this affects the whole world. And so the interesting thing is that Trump is very kind of impulsive. He goes day by day. The thing is that China historically has always been in it for the long game. I mean, they plan ever since the days of Mao, and probably before. They make very long range economic plans. So he may not have the upper hand with them, and that with that other thing that they're in with those other countries, the dollar could be really devalued. So there's one thing that I want to that I'm curious about, and I guess everybody reader and their mother is going to look into um, with his pulling back and pausing these tariffs. Like any idiot would know that the market was going to go up like rapidly. So of course this seems like some kind of a oligarchical uh, kind of insider trading, like we're going to crash the prices down way low and then we're going to manipulate it and cash in. So we revisit the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, which is the crooked and crime family. It's very interesting because I remember when we had a big, back in the 80s, we had a big influx of Russian immigration, and they lived in huge sections of Brooklyn down by Brighton Beach, Coney Island, that sort of thing. And with waves of immigrants comes organized crime. And it's interesting because this all started to build up before the Soviet Union was dissolved. And by the 90s it was no longer the USSR, and it was capitalism and all this good stuff. Well, I could see back in the 80s that the, as far as the mobsters, when we had the Italians and then, of course, the Colombians, but the Russians came in and boom, they just kind of like took it over, they just really took it over, and they became like almost overnight, like really big and organized crime, kind of putting the Italians to shame. Of course, every ethnic group that has emigrated has always had that element. It's just very American. But the thing is with the Russians is that the line between the oligarchs and their new version of capitalism and organized crime, like the line is very, I don't even know if the line even exists, to tell you the truth. So, and then that's who he has been dealing with, and I did a reading a while back, and I think I'm going to revisit about his being in bed with the Russians since the 80s, because that's when they came to town with Deutsche Bank and all of that good stuff. So this looks like this could be some grand insider trading, because people they made it hand over fist today, and I'm sure that he probably did too, of course. And once again, this is for entertainment purposes only. And so what I want to do is I do want to post, I will post this video before the markets open tomorrow, because it could be very interesting. They could even out. Now, even though they said that's the biggest jump since the 1940s or something like that, it's still, the market is still below when he came in. So they're going like from the basement up to the first floor, basically, or the second floor, which is a huge jump. But we're not back where we were when he took office. So you have to remember that. So I do want to look into if the market was manipulated, and if this is so. And I understand that he got a little panicky because it was the bond market, and that is buying chunks of the U.S. because the bond market was crashing. So I think he saw the opportunity to not only get that back from the edge of the cliff, but hey, why don't I owe all this money? I might as well make a few billion off of this. So I think that this was very much almost like, I don't think this was thought out. It was just like, oh, well, this will happen, that'll happen. I'll spin some bullshit about negotiating, making the deal, blah, 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 and I'll just make some money. So I want to see about that. And if that is so, that is grounds for impeachment. And that's going to be in the first one. And then China is a very big bondholder. So they're playing the law. I want to see, do a reading about China too. And the markets are so uncertain that who knows what's going to be happening. So after I listened to Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot, Mary Trump did a real short, succinct video about her uncle and about how, psychologically he's so volatile and uncontrollable and, this and that it was interesting to get her take, and about how he never does anything unless it's going to benefit him. So she was saying, so don't you rest out on your laurels thinking everything's going to be great, because that market is so volatile, it could go back down again for all we know. So this is all very chaotic and crazy. So really what I want to do is, and then I want to see at the end with a couple quickies maybe what this means to us. Now, she did say, oh, of course, his rich friends, the American oligarch, and probably the Russians are in on it too. They're going to get rich, but that's not going to do a lot for people's retirement, because it'll be up and then it'll be down, and that they really have no control over it. So first we're going to look into if this was deliberately manipulated for him to be very self-serving. He can kind of come out as a hero and make a few bucks. So let's see about that. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say. So we have an indicator as the Queen of Pentacles as she sits in her garden of abundance. It's a very female energy. So maybe this could be the market going from the nasty bear to the more bull market, and she is an earth sign. Could be, maybe she's usually Capricorn, and they're very good. So she's holding on to the pentacles steadily. So we have the illusion of the markets being on the steady side. So, oops, I knew I forgot something. Forgot to take out one of my little decks. So we want to see the energy around that. And she's also Homeland Security. So I'm going to say that there may be, it may be Homeland Security as far as settling down the bond market. But let's see the energy around this. Okay, let's see what's going on energetically. So then we have Eight of Swords in reverse, which is usually about self-pity. Well, very female. But in reverse, it's kind of like getting off of the pity pot a little bit and doing a little bit of something, because they've been big enough crybabies as it is. So it seems like they stepped out of that briefly, or he stepped out of that briefly to get something done and to get the markets up. I mean, for the market to go up like that, to me, is a little bit scary to go up that fast. So let's see what we got here. Then we have the Star, to put him back into stardom so people don't hate him that much. Then we have the Sword. I would say that this is about the truth. I think this is about the truth of the bond markets and crashing the entire world economy, kind of like pulling that back from the cliff. I think that's his nature, is that let's wait till things get really bad till we're ready to drop off, and then we'll pull it back. And this is the game he's been playing with the tariffs. But okay, so we're at the position of now what? Now what do I do? This is telling me that underneath all of this, which is really temporary, he doesn't know what he's going to do next. Just really does not know what the next step is, because I can't even say day by day. It's like minute by minute. Okay, so in opposition, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is kind of like the nurturing, motherly sort of thing. But let's see, she is contemplating her emotional options as she looks into that. And but this is really interesting, because the sea, usually in other decks, she's sitting, on this little rock, and the little waves are just lapping up. This is like, wow. This is like she's practically in a, it's very, very choppy, wavy water. So this is about, trying to gain some balance with this, and it's a very emotional thing. So I would say that it's saying that he's kind of satisfied with the way things look right now, and there might be a little bit even in the emotions, but The seas are crashing around. It's like total chaos. So we're going to go to the conscious thoughts. Oh, the Fool. Conscious thoughts. Okay, today was the day for a new beginning. We are going to take a chance, and it's not only to look a little bit better in the world, but also to pull us back. Like it's kind of like he's leaping over the cliff with the horse and hoping that he lands on the other side and doesn't take this poor pooch down with him, although he probably doesn't care about that. So that's about making the bold, kind of like the bold new beginning, but subconscious. Okay, subconscious we have the Queen of Swords. I would say that this is struggling to gain some kind of equal, after this craziness, is like trying to gain the equilibrium that eludes him so much with all of this. And it's also yes, I just got a hit from a guide who's saying this is also the whole thing of being intimidated by strong women. I wouldn't have come up with that, but that's a big driving force. This is represented like so many of these women judges, that is like Bonnie Willis, or and DAs, judges, and Chetkin, all of these people that this whole fear of, I could get Freudian with the sword, and okay, but the castration fear and all that sort of thing. Yet they tell the truth. So he's afraid of, deep down inside, what's driving all of this. I don't know if he had problems with his mother or something like that, is this being intimidated by strong women kind of a thing. So that's been a real driving force, probably, to say, I'm bold, I'm male. If you saw my thing on the toxic masculinity, that's a whole thing. Kind of funny how these readings bleed into each other unexpectedly. Okay, so, and then in the past, we have the Five of Wands, and this is usually the brawling thing when it's upright, but physically, when I see it in reverse, it's usually the inner conflict. So in the past, it's just like total chaos. All parts of his brain are fighting with other parts of the brain. Continuous turmoil, never finds any peace. So that's why he's got to create these crises. But at this kind of like a Gemini thing, creates the chaos, but at the same time thinks about, but I could make a buck off of this too. So there's always that. So that's been in the past. Well, it's still with him, but this is kind of what's been setting him off to do this, especially since he doesn't have guardrails like he did in the previous administration. So presently we have the Keeper of the Temperance. Right now, he's got this sense of having balance since he pulled the markets back from the brink. I think this is all in his head, basically, and this is very temporary, because I'm a psychic. I can't even begin to try to wonder what's going to happen with the markets tomorrow. They could go up, they could go down. I would say, I think in 29, after the market crashed, I think it came back up, but that was a false thing. So he's got this false sense of balance. I feel like I need to put a clarifier. What's the walking away emotionally. He's just kind of checking out. You know what I think? Since he has this false sense of a balance, I think he's going to go off and play golf soon, or he's going to do something like that. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, I've stopped the chaos for 5 minutes. Oh, time to play golf. So maybe he's going to reward himself with an early weekend where, when this comes out, it'll be Thursday. He's been taken off on Fridays for these weekends. The weekends are getting longer. So that's not good. Okay, coming up in the immediate future. Okay, the Ten of Swords in reverse. I think he's getting a little bit of a reprieve, and that he is getting a sense of healing from whatever imagined betrayal he has with Canada. I mean, I don't know what that's all about, but this is all very like a false sense of something, like kind of like resting on his laurels. I will put one clarifier on top of this, which is, okay, to cover up his loss of strength. This is all about this false, all of these are like the false sense of security and the bullying, because he's a very weak person. So he's getting a false sense of healing. Oh boy, when that doesn't happen, oh brother. Okay, so then further out, way in the future, like maybe next week. Okay, let's see what we have. The Hermit in reverse. So still got that little serpent there that he's, like I said yesterday, he's not paying any attention to it, and this is going to come to bite him, which the upright, the Hermit is choosing to be alone to gain more wisdom. Often in readings, when he's in reverse, it's kind of like he's finding him. So he might have had this temporary victory that he sees as the victory, but others see as manipulation. He may be finding himself more alone. And that brings me to, I think I'm going to do a short, I was going to put impeachment issue, but I think I'll save that for just the next shorty reading. Okay, so in the hopes and the fears, we have the Hierophant. He's hoping that in overturning government institutions and doing it his way, that he's going to win. But the fear is those government institutions are pretty strong and they may come back to bite him. So in conclusion, we have all these reverse cards. The Four of Cups, which is that after this, he may be running out of options and gaining more emotional instability with the Cups in reverse, and not being able to see what's right in front of him. So emotional, very, very insecure emotionally. And also that the refusal to see the obvious. Okay, this is going to be, I think, what I'm seeing here is that the markets are probably going to act a little bit crazy when people realize this may be temporary, and that, that without the people that have, the rich people that have put their money in, I think they're going to say, with this crazy yo-yo, we're going to take our profits and book on out of here. So the markets could go down again. They may kind of be careful with the bonds, but the markets will go down. So that's pretty much it, because what we can learn is going to be another one in itself. So this whole thing, the whole thing smacks of insider trading. So I want to see on a very short one if this could be impeachment time, if we could be looking at I seriously doubt it, but I think those drums are beating from the constituents. And it's not like these people are going to fold and impeach him, but it's going to send a very strong message. And there may be pressure. I mean, some people are feeling pretty optimistic. I don't know how we're going to do it with this Congress, but in this